use knives. Do you have copper knives, wooden knives, steel knives, aluminum knives, rubber band knives, diamond knives because you're afraid to commit to the right knife? So my point really is, ultimately, if you're a rational individual, it's a tool.
We're cutting that short. We're cutting the intro short really quick. I don't even care if I only have 3 or 4 people in here tonight for tonight's stream. I wanted to jump back on because I want to run through a pretty interesting segment. What's that song playing in the background? I want to run through a pretty interesting trade that's playing out right now live. This is kind of crazy to see. There is a new trade, PerpDex Arena. And I'm going to do a little segment on it. And this will also go to YouTube. And it'll be a nice reminder that anyone that does watch my YouTube, they can catch these live. But I'm going to run through this, even if there's only a couple people in here. It's a late night stream. I'm not going to tweet it out, but some of you guys will get a little live show. And it's great content to go to YouTube. So I'm going to run through this. I'm also curious if any of you guys in here are trading it. All right, should we dive in? Should we dive in here? Should we dive in? One sec. All right, should we dive in here? Even if we only have a couple people watching, I want to rip this segment. I want to cover what is happening right now, because this is madness. This is absolute madness. This is crazy. There's been one group of altcoins which is, I mean, they're exploding. Let's see if anyone else joins, and I'll dive in here. All right, let's just rip it. Let's just rip it. For everyone watching, enjoy. This one will go to YouTube tomorrow. So this guy right here might have just given us the next big crypto trade, and that is because this... Wait, how do I want to start this? How do I want to start this? Did you guys see this move, by the way? How do I want to start this? 1 second. Let me make sure I'm recording. Yeah, we got to get right into it. Before price goes any higher. So this guy right here, who's the CEO of the second largest crypto exchange, might have just given us the next big trade. And that's because he just tweeted this out. And it doesn't look too crazy. It just looks like big things coming, an announcement of an announcement. But if you've been paying any attention to what's been happening in crypto for the past week or so, really, I guess all of 2025, if you were in Hyperliquid, one of the best performing coins this year, CZ of Binance just launched his own perp DEX, a decentralized exchange where you can go long short with leverage. And in about a week, everyone caught a 10x because of how well CZ's new token Aster has done. And it looks like Ben, the CEO of Bybit, is going to do the exact same thing. This is kind of wild to see play out. I'm going to walk through it. If you want any reasoning as to why this is happening right now, why we're having a bit of an exchange battle, and why they're also the only coins that are moving, it's because they're doing this well. That's the only group of coins that anyone is focused on. It's sucking attention, it's sucking liquidity. Everyone is just FOMOing into these coins. And there's also airdrops on the way, which is another big factor, right? When CZ tweeted this out, there's also now a $700 million or almost $1 billion airdrop for people that are trading on Aster. So this is the CZ token that he came out with. This is their perp DEX. A lot of people are saying it will be basically decentralized Binance. And you can see this thing went from, I think 6 cents was the lowest entry I saw some people get. It's at $2.10 now. And that's 10x since CZ tweeted it, much higher if you bought it early. And now with Ben entering the arena, the reason I want to cover this is because I think there's some hidden details that people haven't put together. It is still very early on in this trade. Who knows how big this will get? And obviously anything I cover here is not financial advice. I just want to give you guys those exciting trades, the biggest moves, all the stuff happening. And if you're watching this on YouTube, by the way, I stream these live every single day on venturecoinist.tv. You can hit the link down below for you guys watching here live. Let's dive into things. Where was I? Okay, so let's get into some of those hidden details, because Ben announces this, big things coming, and he's talking about the Apex protocol, which is already acting as a bit of Bybit's DEX, right? So in terms of exchanges in crypto, you have Binance being the largest exchange, you have Bybit being the second largest exchange, and now you have Aster, which will be Binance's DEX, and you have Apex, which is Bybit's DEX. Now, it looks like he posted this as something big on the way, or big things are coming. You can see what this has already done to price just in the past few hours. And if you feel like you're late, who knows, I'm not going to give you any advice on whether or not you should buy or sell, but I am going to give you some information that I think you should be aware of in terms of why these things are doing so well, how high it could go, looking at things like Hyperliquid, which has performed the best, looking at Aster, which has performed the best in the past week. And I think you can get a better idea of how this could do and why this potentially is the next giant trade in crypto. So ever since Ben tweeted that out, price over the past few hours has absolutely ripped. It was around 80 or 90 cents right before his announcement. It's up about 120%. I got some buys in at $1.40. I wish I would have bought more. It's already at $2. And once again, no matter what the price is when you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're watching this right now in the stream, it doesn't matter too much, because the information I'm about to cover, I think it's going to be helpful either way. So Ben tweets this out. We have a coin that starts moving. The reason that it's moving so much, like I said, is because Hyperliquid and perp DEXs in general, this has just been the trend. Everyone knows this. I'm sure you know this if you're watching. Hyperliquid has been a liquid 10x. It has taken over. It's done more volume than Robinhood, which is an absolutely insane stat. Decentralized exchanges, which are kind of, I think, will be a staple going forward in crypto. I think centralized exchanges will probably suffer. A lot of volume is going to go to decentralized exchanges. And this is insane. When you have a crypto product that's doing this well, beating out incumbents in traditional finance, that's absolutely insane. And they're also making a ton of money. So everyone is kind of coming for that throne. And it's a big reason why CZ himself launched Aster, which is now going to be the Binance DEX. And this thing did a 10x in about a week or much more if you were slightly earlier. So now, after that's happened for both Hyperliquid and for Aster, right? This trend of perp DEX is going insane. Moon tweeted out, he said, the only thing I know for a fact is this number is going to get bigger every month, year, DEX perp volume. Centralized exchanges are absolutely cooked. You can see in the chart, it's up and to the right. I mean, it's going parabolic. I'm not sure the rate of growth will be the same, but the trend is absolutely clear. Perp DEXs are here to stay. And that's why we're seeing so many token launches like this. And I think Bybit's entry, which is Apex, is going to be the next one in the mix. So if you look at this category, right, if you look at Hyperliquid at the top, you have Aster, which is pumping a ton as well because people are FOMOing into Aster, trying to get that $700 million or $1 billion airdrop. The big question to kind of ask yourself is how high will Aster go, which, you know, people are going to chase into that until the airdrop happens. So how big will it get relative to Hyperliquid? And now with this new trade that we're looking at here, how big could Apex get in relation to Aster or in relation to Hyperliquid? And we can go through some of those numbers, right? There's a couple different ways to break this down. I hope you can actually see this chart. Let's see. Do I have to move this over? No, you should be able to see that. So we can just look at the volume. And one thing to keep in mind is this volume on these perp DEXs to figure out which one is going to win, which one is going to be the most valuable, what are the price targets for these. One thing to keep in mind is these numbers are a little bit inflated right now because, as you know, if you're watching this, people are rushing in to catch airdrops, right? Understandable. So Aster is doing absolutely insane 24-hour volume, beating out Hyperliquid by a lot. A lot of people that were in Hyperliquid dumped their bags just to jump into Aster and hopefully claim an airdrop. You understand that the musical chairs that's going on, so to say. And then you also have Lighter in the mix, but Aster, by and large, taking most of the attention, most of the volume, and most of the gains. So that's one way you can look at it. I just don't think this is too much of a helpful metric because there's just a lot of airdrop farming going on, right? It's hard to get an idea of how many people are actually going to be trading on Aster versus Hyperliquid, right? Another way you can look at this, since it is now a bit of a Binance versus Bybit type thing happening, right? With Aster being the Binance DEX and Apex being the Bybit DEX, you can also look at it in terms of how big will Aster be and how big will Apex be. Look at how big Bybit and Binance are in relation to each other. So Binance, by far, has always been the biggest crypto exchange. And you have Bybit, which is, it's not as big, but it's in clear second. Like there is no one else that's close to Bybit. And they have absolutely crushed. They do very, very well at certain times. They even have higher Bitcoin volume. And I think a year or two ago, they were much closer to Binance. But they are a behemoth in their own right. But there's a hidden detail that I don't think some people have really thought about. $2.10 wherever it is. The reason why so many people think this could be the next big player, why it could actually challenge Hyperliquid, is because there is an insanely big airdrop coming, something around 700 million to $1 billion, right? If you just Google what's the Aster airdrop size going to be, they're airdropping around 8% of their total supply. And if you look at what the market value of that is, it's 800 or 700 million dollars going to people that are using Aster. That's free money. And in crypto, you cannot pass up the free money opportunities, right? So that gives you an idea of why people are aping into the Binance trade and after CZ tweeted it. So if you start to run some of those calculations here with Bybit of, okay, if Binance is Binance, wink, wink, which is, it's not CZ's coin, it's Aster, whatever. But Binance is basically giving a massive airdrop to go trade on their DEX. That's Aster. Now do the math on how this is going to work with Bybit. And I actually don't think that this is a fair comparison either. I don't think you can just say that Bybit is 1/5 of Binance, so that the airdrop's going to be 1/5 the size. There is a hidden detail in this tweet, right? So you can see that Mantle is included. And for people that aren't familiar with Mantle, Mantle DAO it's a DAO. Well, it's an L2. It's an Ethereum layer 2. And it has one of the largest, if not the largest, treasuries in all of crypto, community-owned treasuries. Now, what Mantle did and how Mantle fits in with Bybit's DEX, Apex, and Bybit in general is a couple years ago, Bybit started moving almost all of the revenues or 100% of the revenues into this Mantle treasury, right? And that Mantle treasury, Mantle being the Ethereum L2, is now about $6.2 billion, right? One of the largest community-owned treasuries in all of crypto. $5.2 billion of that is in Mantle token. They have $400 million in ETH, $300 million in Bitcoin, $200 million in stablecoins, another 25 in actual ETH. But that treasury is the number that I don't think people are factoring in when they look at what's happening here and when they look at this tweet, this big thing's coming from Ben Bybit. And I think that that's a big reason why we could see this whole trade, this whole musical chairs of perp dexes, I think is going to get pretty ridiculous. And that's why I wanted to make this little video so you saw it. If you do the math and say, okay, people are aping into Aster just because they want to get that 700 million airdrop or that $1 billion airdrop. Okay, here's what I think could actually happen here between Ben and CZ, right? These two run the two biggest exchanges in crypto. They both know the only way to get users, or the real way, is to incentivize users to try out their DEX is to give them a massive airdrop. You make your users rich, you create a cult, you get a lot of users. If Binance is pretty transparently going to airdrop $700 million or $1 billion to their users, what is Bybit going to do to get people to use Apex? Right? And I think that they are going to somehow tap into, who knows if it comes straight from this treasury, if it's somehow an Apex tokens, if it's a new token, who knows if it's an airdrop at all. But that's what a lot of the speculation is. And if you're watching this, I imagine I recorded this the day before. As I said, you can always watch these live on VentureCoinist TV. But I think that this kind of move and where this thing could go in general, you need to be factoring in my opinion, not financial advice at all, but I think you do need to be factoring in the chance that this becomes a bit of an airdrop measuring contest, right? Not a dick measuring contest. This is going to be an airdrop measuring contest as to which centralized exchange, either Binance or Bybit, is going to give more money and incentivize traders to go trade on their exchange, right? I think that is what we could see playing out, and I think that that's why this coin, I would not be surprised to see Apex hit a new all-time high. With how insane this decentralized exchange, this perp dex meta has become, Hyperliquid being the best performer, Aster being the recent performer, and now Bybit stepping into the game, I would not be surprised to see this get a little bit out of control. And I think that Mantle might play a key factor here, and that's probably why Ben included them in the announcement. So all that to say, there is still some big things we need to figure out. Is there going to be an airdrop? How's it going to work with Mantle? Is it going to be Apex tokens? Is it a new thing entirely? Who knows? I do know that exchange CEOs are looking at the activity that's happening on DEXs, and they're trying to figure out, how do we get a slice of that revenue? How do we get a slice of the users? And how do we incentivize people to buy our tokens. And based on how big the Aster airdrop could be, I think Bybit could try to shake things up and maybe tap in. Who knows? Maybe they give a bigger airdrop. I don't have any inside information. I just wanted to cover that because I do think that when you have a token, Aster, which was CZ's announcement, instantly become the hottest coin in the market. And then tonight, you have Ben, the CEO of Bybit. It looks like they've entered the arena, and they want to do something similar. It does, I think it deserves everyone's attention. This could be the next coin in this PerpDex insane trade. It seems like it's all coin season, but just for this one group of coins. And that's the reason I do think it's worth checking out. As always, trade responsibly, not financial advice, but we have some madness happening in the PerpDex world. Check out Apex. If we get any more news about an airdrop coming or whatever else, or if it's coming from Mantle's $6 billion, if it's any bigger than Aster's, I think you could see this Apex coin really run. Now, you also look at the market caps, right? This thing right now, total market cap, 260 million. If you look at Aster's total market cap, 3 billion. So it's less than 1/10 of the size of Aster's airdrop. Let's just say they do the same size airdrop for Apex. Either it somehow works with Mantle, it somehow works with Apex tokens, or they launch a new token entirely. Let's say they do a $700 million airdrop. I mean, just for this thing to get to Aster size, I don't think it'll get to Aster size, but I do think if it's doing the same sized airdrop, how much money is going to pile in to capture that airdrop? Like, these are the numbers I think that a lot of traders are going to be trying to figure out in the coming days. And in just a few hours, you've already seen how high this thing goes. So if they do announce an airdrop anywhere close to what Binance is doing, to what Aster is doing, and to what CZ is doing, I think you could see this coin finding new all-time highs, which would obviously be above $3 or $4, and that would be a nice little 2 or 3x. So that needs to be on your radar. Obviously not financial advice. Trade responsibly, but it looks like we have a new coin in the PerpDex wars. This is the one group of coins that's outperforming everything. You need to be paying attention. As always, you can watch these live on VentureCoinist TV. That's all I got. Trade responsibly, and yeah, enjoy the pump. What do you guys think of this trade? God, there's only like 4 people in here for the live. But I think that this thing could get pretty insane. All right, let me wrap up that segment, and then I might hop off the live, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. But I wanted to put it out so I can get this one to YouTube. Anyone in chat hanging out? Anyone in chat? No one in chat. All right, I'll probably end the live, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. But God, I just wanted to cover that. I just wanted to cover it because I find it fascinating. We now have a battle between the centralized exchanges in crypto that have quickly realized the best way to get people to buy their tokens and to grab new users, to get a slice of the revenue, is it looks like they're giving out free money. And CZ and Binance already did it. It looks like Bybit is the next group to do it. I'm pretty optimistic because that hidden detail, I don't think a lot of people have factored in this math yet. We'll see how it plays out. Trade responsibly. Hope you enjoyed that segment. As always, you can watch these live on VentureCoinist.tv. That link is down below. I stream every single day, and hopefully you've been enjoying these new market updates here on the YouTube channel. That's all I got, guys. All right. That's a quick little live. I just wanted to hop on and do that. I'm going to publish that to YouTube, and for anyone that is hanging out, I know there's only a couple of you guys, but I will see you all tomorrow for the stream. All right, peace.
How many chairs are you sitting on right now? Are you all in on the chair? You put on one pair of glasses, you've got one pair of AirPods right now. You're looking at me through one screen. Like, you're using one microphone. That's a one microphone. Like, you trust it? Is that conviction? Seems kind of scary. Why don't you diversify? Why don't you use 10 microphones? Do you drive in 10 cars at the same time or one car?